I'm Rosalind Carita, and this is History and Heritage. And today, I'm at a very special place that most of you have seen millions of times. You drive by it all the time. This is the L&N Train Depot. We're at the corner of Commerce and 10th. Today, we're going to look at the museum. We're going to learn about the history, so stay with us. It's your history and your heritage.
Hi, this is the Restore. My name is Catherine Norbeck Daly, and I'm the manager here at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. Everything we sell in here is donated. All of the proceeds go to benefit the Habitat for Humanity homes. We take windows, doors, building supplies, cabinets, household goods, and we will pick up. The Restore is located in downtown Clarksville at 408 Madison Street, across from Madison Street United Methodist Church. The phone number is 645-4242. Call us to schedule your next donation pickup.
Today, I have some great folks that you know. You know Randy Rubel and you know Billy Frank Morrison. And these folks know everything there is to know about Clarksville history and then some. So today we are really excited because we have both of them. We are here at the L&N Train Depot. And you know what? We're going to get a chance to really hear from start to finish. How did this get here? What is the history of the L&N?
Well, unfortunately, some of the history is not well documented, and there's some controversy about many parts of it. The research that I have done indicates that the original depot was built in 1859 down at the foot of what is Depot Street now. That was the same year that the turn bridge down here on the Cumberland River was built, and it's also the first year that we had train service here.
So that's pre-Civil War.
Yes.
We had trains in Clarksville.
Right. The only one running here came from Guthrie, which at the time was known as State Line, and shortly after that, L&N bought that train line, and they located here. Now they did that in 1870, but this train station here was not open until 1901.
So there was originally another place, older, but we had train service for a long time, and I'm sure that really helped Clarksville to grow.
Yes.
Yeah, especially with the train system being finished around 1859, and then they put in the turn bridge, and literally.
So what is a turn bridge?
The turn bridge was the bridge over the Cumberland River that would allow traffic for the steamboats to come through.
Okay, bigger boats to be able to come through.
Clarksville being the tobacco capital of the world, there were many steamboats down there, and a lot of the hogsheads were taken down there, and one of the most important things was to keep that turn bridge able to turn. But originally, I think, from what we have found out, is that it did not turn until later, like 1863.
Okay.
Traffic was hindered because the steamships couldn't go underneath the bridge, so they would literally have to take off some of their cargo if they were going to Nashville
unload.
or back. Yeah.
Okay.
And now there was stories that some of the steamships could actually lower their stacks going underneath, but I have never ever heard of that.
And there were some that tore their stacks off attempting to go under that. Yeah. But Randy mentioned something that I think is important. Clarksville was a thriving riverport until about 1900, from 1850 until 1900. But the handwriting was on the wall. The transportation of choice was going to change from riverboat traffic to the train. We could get the things that we needed, like coal, in here much quicker, much cheaper. And the things that we were shipping out, like tobacco, mules, whiskey, meat, iron ore, all of those things, we could send them out by rail car much quicker and more economically than we could on the river boats.
So in this room, we are in the L&N train station, and I don't know if we call it a station or a depot. Is one word more correct than the other?
Well,
It's both.
Okay.
The definition in the railroad encyclopedia says that a station is a place where a train stops. It can be nothing more than a platform.
Okay.
A depot is a place like this that has ticket agents, waiting rooms, and facilities.
Okay. And this actually was the ticket agent room.
Yes.
As we kind of look around this room, it is a museum. It is open to the public, and we invite people to come down here, and we'll be sure and run the hours and the times, and you can hear the train in the background. We'll be sure and run the times on the screen so that you can come down here and take a look at this firsthand. But we've got some great artifacts. Anybody want to tell us a little bit about some of these?
All of this stuff in the room has been donated by members or other persons that were very much interested in the railroad system. And so as the stuff came in, we started to, we were actually able to get some of the antique display cases and then place in the display cases some of the items that came off the L&N trains. Right in here, these are the telegraphs that were used. Here, if you notice, this is an interesting item. The man would be typing up his work order, and then if the telephone rang, a lot of people don't realize that this was a form of the first telephone communications, especially in Clarksville. And to get more information out to them, they would actually use the Morse code. This is an item right here where they would actually do the Morse code, and whether they did it here or not, I'm sure that they probably could. Do you?
I'm certain they did early on. The last ticket agent here was P.O. What was his last name?
Got it on paper.
They closed this train station in 1966, but the employees stayed on into the 70s.
Oh, really?
And P.O. Bledsoe, the name came to me, was the last ticket agent here. And could I mention, as the train went by, that was a R.J. Corman train, and we have two rail cars here. We have a locomotive that was provided to us by R.J. Corman, and we also have a caboose that was gifted to us by the U.S. Army. So those are things that are external to the station here, but were a very important
I'm
part
glad
of it.
you mentioned that, because so much, I mean, these things are donated, and somebody somewhere had them in a collection or just had them for some reason, and they made the effort to try to bring them here, which just adds to the whole historical story. And you had a great story about this over here. Tell us a little bit. I mean, this is kind of an unusual,
take it down.
looks like a big slingshot. Okay.
This, one of the men that were in here, that came here one time for a history week, train history week, he picked this up and he said, "Do y'all know what this is?" And of course I don't even know what that is, but it had a string in here, and when the train would come by, just like it did a few minutes ago, and they wanted to give a message to the engineer or one of the guys on the train, he would literally just stand beside the tracks and reach this up to the man, and he would grab it. They would slow up enough just to get the information. And it could have been that, President Truman died or something like that. It was something of great importance. And whoever actually donated this, they put a little note here, and it's probably something written on there. It says these were the train orders that they would literally hand up to.
And somebody
one of
reached out.
Yeah, reached out of out of the
Wow.
train and picked it up.
Not exactly like the iPhone.
No.
And this is huge over here. This looks like this was the front light on
Yes, the headlight off of.
huge. I wonder who had this or saved it.
Do we know the history on it,
Oh,
Randy?
good. Randy's got a picture here.
This is the general.
Let's hold this up where Alex.
He may not be able to get it because of the glare, but what this is a light that was on top of a engine, and I was always told that this was one of the wrecks that went into the Cumberland River.
Oh,
But I'm not 100% sure because we receive a lot of stories while we're here as volunteers, and people come in and say, no, that was just a piece of garbage that they picked up at one of the old train stations and they donated to Clarksville.
so lots of good stories.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
interestingly, the general that was famous from the Civil War era, the South had it, the North stole it, we stole it back, they stole. But
See, these guys really know their history.
the general came here in 1996 as a part of the bicentennial celebration here, as did the Spirit of Tennessee, an exhibit train that traveled around. We also had the Tennessean that came here delivering mail from Virginia to Memphis and stopped here. And the Pan American, which was L&N's flagship train, has also visited here.
Wow. So we have all kinds of artifacts, and we can just kind of pan around here. But I think we need to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more history.
Have you ever been hungry, worried about where you're going to get your next meal? Loaves and Fishes is an organization feeding the hungry. Primarily through volunteer efforts and donations, we are able to accomplish this mission. Loaves and Fishes provides a midday meal Monday through Saturday year-round. We provide food to agencies helping the needy through our distribution program. If you would like to donate, get involved, or for more information, you can find us on the web at www.loavesandfishestn.org. Please help us with our mission of feeding the hungry.
Hi, this is the Restore. My name is Catherine Norbeck Daly, and I'm the manager here at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. Everything we sell in here is donated. All of the proceeds go to benefit the Habitat for Humanity homes. We take windows, doors, building supplies, cabinets, household goods, and we will pick up. The Restore is located in downtown Clarksville at 408 Madison Street, across from Madison Street United Methodist Church. The phone number is 645-4242. Call us to schedule your next donation pickup.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Will you become a guardian angel? The Humane Society has been saving lives and helping families since 1968. We are an independently operated nonprofit organization, and the strength of our programs relies solely on donations and grants. Your donation will allow us to save animals from the local county shelter, as well as provide low-cost spay-neuter vouchers and more. All of our programs are geared toward providing families with options that prevent them from surrendering personal or found pets, which might otherwise be euthanized at a shelter. Please, be a guardian angel today.
Welcome back. We are going to look at some more of these artifacts, and these are great. Okay, Billy Frank, tell us what we have here in this case.
Well, the most interesting object in here is this, what appears to be a spittoon, but is not. It was what was called back then a honey bucket. It was the bathroom while you were traveling on the train, and there is a brass plate on it that says you should not throw this or empty it out the window of the train.
We have come a long way
Yes.
since then. Okay, so we have some other artifacts in here. People dined on the train, and I see this little holder for the egg. This looks like is this a little milk bottle?
Probably a milk bottle and some plates, and here's also some plates too. So when you were on a car, and a dining car, you'd go probably from where you were sleeping to the dining car to eat probably 3 times a day. And so these were little items that they would have on your table as you were eating.
Right. And you know, it's interesting, the concept of a dining car, I mean, that was a big deal. You dressed up, you had real plates and real food that wasn't processed, you know, in a package. And, you know, not like one's good or bad, but it was very different. They prepared it, and it was more of a do to go and eat on the train. Of course, traveling on the train was not something that just everybody could do. That cost some significant money. So that is interesting that they treated you well on the train. And I see looks like maybe a letter from post office or maybe a ticket.
Post office, department, railway, and again, the mail would be delivered. And prior to the train coming into this station, there would be a large, you might say, wooden stand, and they would actually go out and they would hook the mail bags.
Okay, I think
onto it.
everybody remembers that. And back when kids played with those trains, they would have a little mailbag guy that would pull off.
And they would, again, as they were coming through, they would have a hook, and the guy in the car, he would come out and he would hook that, you know, he had to be pretty strong, I guess, and to bring in the bags. So they would also deliver mail, and they would also pick up mail. So it was, you know, this is how, you know,
It's how they did it.
how they did it before the.
I know we're kind of jumping around in this, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to mention the World War II era and the significance of the depot during that time. A lot of people don't realize it, but during World War II, Camp Campbell then, was a training command, and at times we had more than 100,000 soldiers stationed there. Most of those came in here by train, and when they received their permanent orders, left here by train. And there is one story that is particularly interesting. From 1943 to 1946 at Camp Campbell, we had POWs. They were German and Italian. And we had one of the few German soldiers to be killed on American soil, shot and killed right here. A MP was putting a group of them on the Pan American, and the story is that one of them bolted and ran and was shot and killed.
Oh.
And let me transition, if this is a transition, to 1966, the next, or another war, the Monkees, the rock group, wrote and recorded a song, The Last Train from Clarksville.
Well, and we all know this. In our age group, we know we know the Monkees, and we know The Last Train to Clarksville.
Yeah, and there's always been some controversy about whether they wrote it about this train station or one in Clarksdale, Arizona, where they were working at the time. But regardless of whether it was about this one or not, the record shot up on the charts and really elevated awareness about our town. It was a protest song regarding the Vietnam War, and I guess that's the story on that, and the controversy continues.
Well, and you know, everyone our age can relate and has certain memories of Vietnam. I grew up in Midland, Texas, and my boyfriend joined the Army and was stationed at Fort Campbell. So you know, you never know the future. But I used to listen to that song and think, that's where Curtis is. You know, Last Train to Clark. It always made me think of him. So we all have our own way that we remember when we hear a certain song.
Well, I was growing up in Vietnam when I heard it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I actually, on the wall over there, got the record, the 45 RPM record, and it is signed by one of the monkeys.
Wow.
And I had it framed, and we've got it here on display.
Good
too.
for you. And then talking about things that we have here, we have some original pieces that I wanted to be sure that we pointed out. You know, some things are pictures of things that happened here, but this is an original piece. Tell us a little bit, clearly we know what it is, but tell us a little bit about this and how you came by it.
Well, I'm not sure where we obtained that, but it would have belonged to P.O. Bledsoe finally, and it was just a way of him keeping up with the scheduling and changes with the trains, and it would also provide information for the passengers who were waiting on those.
It sort of reminds you of if you was going to the Nashville airport.
Right.
And you're looking up and you're seeing on schedule, delayed, or whatever.
Right.
The same thing would apply to customers coming in here buying a ticket.
Right.
If they're wanting to go to St. Louis or whatever, they would want to see if the train was on time, if it was going to be here all right. So
Right.
that's great.
And I just noticed this. This is a calendar from 1912. And it's looks like really good shape. I'm always amazed that somewhere somebody had this in their attic or something.
This one is actually a reproduction.
Okay, burst my bubble.
Jeff Bibb
Yes.
and his association,
Frank Lott.
Frank Lott, they actually produced these
How?
off of an original.
Wow.
And so they donated a couple of them to the museum.
And that's great. Bibb and Lotter,
Yeah.
they are very generous.
Yeah.
And then also right over here, tell us about this.
Well, this is kind of like my grandfather used to have in his basement.
Yeah.
He used to have a lot. My grandfather worked for the Ashland, Topeka, Santa Fe Railroad. This is an oil can, and for a man that's on the ground and you've got a big engine or a car or anything, and you've got to stick this long neck of this oil can in there to oil up certain parts of the engine.
Yeah, and they also, the brakeman would, anytime the train would stop, they would also oil parts of the wheels and that mechanism. There was a lot of friction involved with that, and the braking often resulted in fires. So they tried to keep everything lubricated. It's just sort of a unique item.
And then I think we have a nice picture over here, and we'll get a close-up of the train station. Now this looks like it was taken, this is not a real old picture. Yeah, grab a hold of
I
that.
believe that this is Mr. Souza. Yeah.
Okay.
W.J. Souza
Yes.
took this picture. And this is just a few years before the station really got into a really bad disarray. We've got another photograph of it over there on the wall. And basically, when I was working at the fire department, we had orders to burn certain buildings in Clarksville.
Oh.
And when I was in the office, the files came through with a photograph, which is on the wall over there, that the city wanted this building burnt down.
Oh.
So we met. I was a member of the Clarksville Montgomery County Historical Society, and we met in a meeting, and I showed him the paperwork, and I said, if we don't do something, that this
We're gonna
building is
lose
going to
this.
be burnt down,
Right.
tore down, and razed. So the Montgomery County Historical Society, we had about $7,000 worth of seed money. And so we basically applied the paperwork through the state of Tennessee, and they saw the necessary, historical importance
The
of
value of
saving
this,
this
right.
building. But this is really a great picture. This
That is.
again was
And-
by Mr. Souza.
Bless his heart, and he's taken a lot of, and Billy Frank, I think you've got some postcards.
Well, I collect old postcards, and surprisingly, there are not many older cards of the train station. This is one about 1996 when station had fallen into disrepair and,
Okay.
and was renovated as a part of the bicentennial celebration. But
Oh, you
you can see there are.
And these are all postcards.
That's the turn bridge where we've.
Okay,
put
the
two
turn bridge
river-
we talked about.
Two
Okay.
trains in the river. And this is the old cargo shed that was down near Riverside Drive. I'm not sure what the proper term for that was.
It
And
was
this
the
is-
freight depot.
Okay. And this is an interesting, looks like an artist's rendition.
Yes. I guess the interesting thing about this, if I were talking about the courthouse, I would have 100 postcards.
Right.
We're talking about L&N, Louisville, Nashville Depot, and there are only 6 or 8 cards of it. So it hasn't been documented
Right.
pictorially or in written history either.
And that's interesting, you know, we've talked about that this is the L&N, and we never did really say, and I started to ask you, what does L&N stand for? So that's it, Louisville,
Louisville,
and
Nashville.
Nashville. Okay, well, that does kind of bring us a little focus. And then I wanted to show just some of the actual, we have some trains, and I wanted to let everybody have an opportunity to see some of the actual trains we have, and maybe you guys can tell us a little bit about the trains.
Well, most people in Clarksville will know C. David Elliott.
Right.
He is a member of the society, and he has put an awful lot of time into this museum, and many of these things are contributions that C. David himself made or things that he found, and he used to have, he still has. He's always kept trains down here to entertain young people.
And he has
when
at
they
the
visit.
museum, they have all kinds of trains
Yes.
as well. You know,
Yes.
this really, we have a lot of train activity.
Yeah.
Did you see the sign up there on the wall of times past?
Right, colored waiting room, agent's office. And along that line of things that have changed, I noticed that as we were talking about this, every one of these jobs were held by men. And I'm sure they were, there wasn't a lot of room for women, and so those things have changed. Many things have changed for the better. We have taken a look today at this museum that is housed in the L&N train depot, now that we know that it was a depot. This is open to the public. The folks that have really saved this building and made it possible are all folks locally who love history and care about the value of our history and our heritage here in Clarksville. And Randy Rubel knows so much, has been involved for so long. Billy Frank, the same thing. They just really have donated a lot of their time. I hope you've enjoyed this. It is our history, it is our heritage, and I thank you guys for helping us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Hi, this is the Restore. My name is Catherine Norbeck Daly, and I'm the manager here at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. Everything we sell in here is donated. All of the proceeds go to benefit the Habitat for Humanity homes. We take windows, doors, building supplies, cabinets, household goods, and we will pick up. The Restore is located in downtown Clarksville at 408 Madison Street, across from Madison Street United Methodist Church. The phone number is 645-4242. Call us to schedule your next donation pickup.
Thanks for calling the GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Siller speaking. Your level 7 in-your-face pep talk.
I can keep pushing. Believe me, I'm good at it.
Once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell him.
Mr. Trejo, can they transfer this guy to you? He needs something a little more...
Persuasive?
Yes.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Safe House is a domestic violence shelter for women and children who are being abused. We try to provide comfort and a safe place to stay. Please help us with your donations. We need diapers, personal hygiene, and household items. If you would like to help, please call us at 648-9100. If you or your organization would like to make a donation, please contact us or send it to Safe House at P.O. Box 324, Clarksville, Tennessee 37041. Thank you for helping Safe House.